Okay, welcome back to the Adventure Within channel. My name is Andrew Fritz. I'm a clairvoyant healer and meditation teacher. And in this video, I'd like to talk about fate and destiny. A lot of people tend to think that they're the same thing, but from a clairvoyant perspective, I tend to see them as two different energies. And we'll start with fate. So, fate, I tend to see kind of related to your programming, what you're conditioned with and your upbringing. Definitely going to be coming from pretty strongly from your parents, immediate family, perhaps extended family, relatives, um, coaches, teachers from school, um, maybe initial supervisors or bosses from those first few jobs you had. Even, if you're affiliated with some sort of church or religion, going to church and the people involved with that. So there's a lot of different people, a lot of different factors that can contribute to, your programming. And it's you need programming. It helps you, it's there for you to survive in this world. Um, but it's not really your energy. But you need it initially. And, I tend to find when you go down the path of programming that, yeah, it's helpful initially, but at some point you start to realize that, this is keeping me safe and it works, but it's not very fulfilling. It tends to lead to lower emotions, like sadness or anger and frustration and disappointment and all that, the lower emotions. And then what's on the other side of that? There's destiny, which I tend to see more in alignment with your that higher part of yourself, that higher self or God of your heart, whatever you want to call that, part of you that has the big picture for this lifetime, your mission statement, or what's the original intention for this incarnation, this body life. And so, yeah, obviously, if you start to get in communication with that part of yourself and in alignment with that part of yourself and listening to that and, following your higher intuition, ultimately going to be more fulfilling. You'll start to experience higher emotions or, we just qualities of spirit, basically. But initially, making, that jump from going to programming, to destiny or, you're kind of living out your purpose, um, that could be challenging, because there you can run into a lot of energy that's going to want you to stay running in your programming and kind of going with the path of fate. So you might experience fear and doubt and invalidation. All these things might start to kind of bubble and come to the surface. So initially, kind of deciding, I'm going to move away from my programming and start to move in a direction of my destiny. There's a lot there. Initially, it can be kind of challenging, and just even once you've embarked on that spiritual journey, it can still you're going to have challenges throughout it. But kind of ultimately, I think is much more fulfilling. Um, And see, the thing with fate and destiny, I think is really helpful. Sometimes there's some people that are very aware of their programming because it can be kind of more intense, I guess, with the expectations in certain cultures where that's just strong expectations that you have to go to this school or you have a few options for these schools that you can get into and you've got to get these grades and you got to go for this many years so that you could become a doctor or a lawyer or whatever it is. And there's very, it could be this one thing or just a few options and that's that. And if you don't do it, then you're going to be a total failure in life and we're going to excommunicate you. We're not going to support you. And wow, that's kind of intense. But it can be like that energetically. And so some people are very aware of it. It's just kind of you feel that pressure from society and from family that you have to this is the way you have to do it. Or else it's not going to look good for you. And that's really a lie. And sometimes we're not totally aware of all our programming, and that's when kind of turning on your psychic abilities like clairvoyance can be really helpful because you can really take a look and see and go, wow, okay, here's some other aspects of my programming I wasn't really fully conscious of, and you wake up to it and just you have more certainty of, okay, this is my programming. And, becoming more aware of that, it can be kind of a relief to realize, oh, this is not my energy. It's just programming. Whew, okay. Well, now what? Now it's okay. Let's take a look at using your clairvoyant ability to look at your destiny or what's your mission or your purpose for this lifetime. That's going to be really exciting to be able to see that. Um, anytime you really are clairvoyantly like looking at your energy, um, it's just very euphoric like, in a way to see that. You'll be turned on in a way. It's just like, wow, you'll be looking at color, or you're seeing an image, and it's just packed with information, and it's just very, very exciting to see that and to be aware of that, to wake up to that truth. And so then, okay, you become aware of your programming, and you start to become aware of your purpose, your mission for this lifetime. And then it becomes a game of, okay, I need to start moving away from my programming and kind of how do I start living your truth and fulfilling your purpose. And that's a tricky dance as well because, again, when you move away from your programming, there's, FUD is what my teacher used to call it. The acronym was fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Those fun energies. So you experience those, making that shift, definitely. And there's again, I've had different videos talking about this. There's different ways about kind of making that transition. Some people, take time off, and they can kind of, okay, this is time about personal growth and making that transition out of, this is where you hear stories of like people like in corporate America and, they exit that and they enter something that's more authentic to themselves. That's just one example. I'm sure we've all heard stories like that. And again, there's different ways. Some people get severance packages. Some people, do the thing that, that's not really working out for them. That's not really fulfilling to them, but, it helps them survive in this world and all that. They do that for a while and they do whatever their real mission here is. They do that kind of part time until they can make that full transition and doing, what they really are passionate about full time. And some people just take risks. There's all different ways, and it's not how someone else has done it. It's about what's going to work best for you. And that's the key is really is listening to your higher intuition and just going with that. People can give you advice all day, but that's what they would do if they were in your shoes, and they're not. So it'd be worthwhile to just kind of look within and find, okay, what's going to work for me? And it's a tricky process to go from, it's like crossing like a shaky, long rope bridge. And sometimes there's, missing little boards and, there's a big gap and, woo, I don't know if I want to take another step here. It's looking kind of really high up here and it's kind of scary. It could feel like that sometimes. And sometimes we slow down. Sometimes we get stuck on that rope bridge. And it takes a lot of courage and trusting the process, ultimately trusting yourself. The part of you that's kind of like, okay, if you want out of that programming, then here's the path. And yeah, it is going to be challenging, but I think totally worth it and way more rewarding and fulfilling in the end. But definitely awkward and uncomfortable because you're going to be growing and changing, stepping out of that information and energy that you're programmed with, more kind of bringing in your energy and truth and information about really what it is you're here to do. Um, and I think it is super helpful to have your abilities turned on. Um, and that's something that we offer. We're not just a YouTube channel, we're an online school of intuitive arts where we offer classes like meditation classes and clairvoyant trainings and different advanced trainings where you can really turn these abilities on and just in a safe space, where there's a structured curriculum that you can work with other classmates that are going through the same process with you that you get to communicate with. It is helpful to do it in kind of safe space, people that are have done this before and going through it with people that are kind of where you're at generally, and you can communicate with them. And wow, I'm going through this, and yeah, me too. And you get to exchange, readings with them and healings with them, and it helps you get through it. Um, and because that's what kind of got me when I went through my initial clairvoyant training. It was me showing up to all the classes and especially the readings. We'd have these aura readings that we'd exchange. Read classmates. We would read people that walked, that are off the street and got to read them. And a lot of times when it comes to readings, we think that it's just about the other person. And yeah, you're giving them a hello, but you got to remember that we are all mirrors. So if you see something in someone else, you have that same thing. So it could be positive things. It could also be things where you notice blockages, and you might have the same blockage within yourself, and you get to find a way to navigate through that. So you get really answers for yourself when you read other people. It's not just a one-way street. Um, so that's what I found helpful for myself is, being able to turn these abilities on within a community, and it helps you get from that programming, and gets you more into a place where you're starting to walk your spiritual path in alignment with your truth. Um, and it is a journey. It is a process. It's not something that's overnight, that it's just, woo, I went to a weekend, workshop, and, it's something that, with those are great, to learn and all that. Um, but when you're wanting really big change, it's not something that just happens overnight. That it takes some time because you're going to be making shifts in spirit, and it takes time for your body to catch up to that. And there's kind of growth period after growth period after growth period. It's like if you cut a tree and you looked and you kind of see the rings, all these like different levels of growth, if you will. It's very much like that, spiritually when you're growing and evolving. You take a step and you're shedding unconsciousness and pain and invalidation, the energy that's basically in your way, and it takes some time for your body to catch up to that. And then you take another step. So you keep taking these steps, and it is challenging, right? You're going to notice that if that's something that you embark on. But you got to remember what you're growing towards. You're moving away from programming, you're moving towards your truth. And just remembering that and just reminding yourself, okay, yeah, this is why I'm doing this. Because there's times where I've been in my trainings as a student, and you kind of go, oh my God, can this just be done? Or this is, wow, this period of change and growth is killing me. And usually it's a matter of just because other people are going to get lit up about how you're changing and growing. And it's just a matter of being aware of that and healing yourself from that so that you can just kind of get to your own energy about your growth. And you can handle that, no problem. But it is nice to kind of remind yourself during the challenges you'll face um, while you're growing and changing that, oh, this is why I'm doing this, and just remembering that. Um, And that's, some people do like vision boards, for different reasons. And sometimes, yeah, it's like having a picture on the wall of just like, okay, this is what I'm reminding yourself that this is what this is all about. This is why I'm going through this, why I'm doing this. Um, and when you have gone through enough growth periods, you want them more actually, because you've grown enough, and because you've grown enough, move through many growth periods, you get to have more, and your life changes in a really great way. You get to experience things and have things that you you didn't think was really possible before. And when you start to have enough of those experiences, you go, wow, okay, yeah, sign me up. I want more growth periods because I want what's on the other side, or the thing that I'm trying to focus on that lies ahead. Um, And so you almost start to crave the growth periods. You want to go through those so you can you embrace more and more of your own truth. Because it is a sight to see when you can really clairvoyantly look at, yourself as spirit and your energy and your essence and what is true for you and your mission. It lights you up in this like really magnificent and kind of beautiful way. That's tough to describe. It's just something that you have to really experience. We can talk about psychic abilities all day, and it's nice, it's helpful. It gets people kind of interested and oh, okay, yeah, I'm having these experiences, or people are curious. But at the end of the day, really, it's not about proving it. It's about you have to experience it yourself. And then once you have the experiences, then you go, oh, okay, now I understand what this is all about. This is what people have been talking about that have um, gone through this, and yeah, it's incredibly, I think, empowering to go through this, but it is challenging. And there's going to be people out there that aren't willing to, or maybe just not ready to make that step. And they'll kind of just get caught kind of going through their programming. And then there's going to be some of the people that are going to go, no, like I'm going to do whatever it takes to get out of this so that I can really embrace my truth and do what it was I came here to do. That I don't want to sleepwalk through life and just kind of, just do kind of what I was told, just kind of what the deck of cards that were given to me, and that's that. And I don't know, you can remind yourself, hey, I created this lifetime. Why did I do that again? Um, and then you can start to live that out. And that's probably going to look and feel very different from your programming.